Hey everybody. Hey Donald. Thanks for being a channel member. Hey everybody. Glad to have you. Terry, Don, Frank, Darren, Kevin, Rob, Diane, Ed, Donald, new channel member. Ivan, welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. Choo, 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 choo. Boy, Goose down there in Florida right now sent me a picture or sent me a video of the Falcon 9 launch yesterday. Guess he's taking a few days off, having some fun. Anyway, how about that CPI reaction, huh? Anybody paying attention to that? Came in a little spicy. And look at that baby. Look at that baby. Anybody get caught surprised? I was warning that might be what's about to happen. Sometimes I get lucky on this. I mean, surprise, not surprise. Dang. Tell you what. So now what happens, right? Now what? That's what everybody wants to know. We'll get into that in just a second. We'll get there. We'll get there. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I've been up a long time today. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument. If you desire personal financial advice, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor, which is not what I do. So basically that says I make predictions. Sometimes they come true, sometimes they don't. I may never get another thing right again, and you shouldn't trade stocks, bonds, options, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. There's a substantial risk of loss when you do. I'm just a guy out here sharing stuff. In Discord, it's like, trust the master. I'm like, who's the master? I'm just a guy that, been doing this a long time, figured a few things out. I wouldn't call myself a master. If I was, I'd make money all the time trading, not lose my butt sometimes when I get stuff wrong. But, hey, we all live and learn at this game. So we've got Jerome Powell testifying yesterday, and he didn't really say much, although he was pretty adamant about the fact he didn't want to cut rates at all. Pretty adamant about that. And then we had CPI, of course, coming in spicy, hotter than expected, especially on the month of our month, and the market taking a little spill there. So, somebody said that we were probably going to get spicy CPI. It was going to be a problem, especially with Powell's rhetoric the day before. This is last night I was saying that when we were kind of going through it. We've got President Trump speaking again today, so this might become a regular thing where we got Trump just blasting out here saying stuff, and the market can react, and so that's one of those things to keep a watch on when he gets on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, gets on. X is hard to say. You're like, when he gets on X, and everyone's like, X what? I think we're starting to get there, but then what do you call it? A post on X, I guess, and. So watch out. I mean, I know he lives on Truth Social, whatever, but it gets replicated over on X. Elon lives on X, so when the stuff comes down, when the crap hits the fan. Tomorrow we've got PPI, which I don't really expect anything. These numbers pretty much don't really move much, as you can see. We could come in a little spicy, but I don't really expect the market to react to this much at all. Now, if it's a giant surprise, we might, but I don't really expect the market to do much on that. Now, retail sales coming out on Friday. That could be one that we might react to if we get a big surprise that doesn't match what we're expecting here. This goes, negative, which we're already kind of expecting a negative print on the forecast. If this goes big negative, we could get more of a reaction to the negative side in the market. You can see when we forecast negative, we tend to surprise negative. Not every time. Sometimes we surprise positive, but I don't know. You know, it's just one of those. The typical negative expectation usually outperforms a little bit. So, not every time, but it can be a problem. So, I guess we'll see what happens on Friday. Should be interesting, as always. But how do we make money, right? How do you make money chasing this stuff? Like, somebody will tell you, oh, this stuff matters to blah, blah, blah. Traders didn't expect CPI. I mean, I'm sure the CNBC comedy channel out there is just tearing apart the CPI right now. Probably I will be all day. I told you what I was going to do. Anybody surprised? Let me know in the chat if you've been following me and you're surprised by that reaction right there. Let me know. If you're surprised I got it right, that's okay. But if you were just like completely surprised, you didn't think I warned you about what was coming, let me know. I tried. That was a lower high, and guess what? Lower high, lower high, lower high. Man, we haven't really gone anywhere, though. I mean, we just dropped 70 points, but didn't really go anywhere, right? Hadn't really done anything. Still in this choppy bull crap. Like, how do you trade this? We've been going sideways for freaking forever. Frustrating. It's like, you could sell income trades, but even those are getting chopped up a little bit, especially on these swings. I mean, tough price action to make any money. It just really is. Like, this is just a tough environment to consistently make any money. I'm right there with you. I mean, I don't like a market that's just stuck in the mud, chopping. That's just not my favorite. I like moving. I don't like just sitting here chopping. So, yeah, random YouTube commercials are, so YouTube pays me. So I do appreciate you watching them, or, the fact that most of you don't revolt against those, but, it's kind of the necessary evil of using YouTube as a platform. Stocks above the 20-day. Let's review where we're at. So I mentioned a few days back, we topped out. We're probably going to come back down, at least in the lower quadrant here. Or lower half, I guess. This might be done. Might be enough correction. I think we may go down a little bit more. That's interesting. My bot just threw me an alert. Silence that. We might go down a little bit more. Possibly down here. Could come down here before we turn and head back up again. Stock's about the 50-day. Just kind of consolidating in here. We possibly could see a double dip back into the this area right in there, 30, 35-ish. We're probably going to go up to the top, though. We've been at the bottom. We've been halfway up. We haven't been to the top since we were at the top over here. We visited the bottom down here. Now it's time to go back to the top. So 50-day S5 FI basis, probably going up before we go down bigger. Now, it's possible that this wasn't enough down and we go make a lower low on the down. It's entirely possible before we go up. But it's a giant market oscillator. We tend to go from the top to the bottom. Sometimes it takes a long time at the top before we go down to the bottom. So it could take a long time at the bottom before we go up to the top. It's entirely possible. These are just kind of set your expectation. That's kind of what it does for me. We've been at the bottom, kind of expected to go up. That's why I'm kind of been biased long lately. But the price action the last few days got me more neutral than anything. So stocks above the 200-day. On the other hand, even bigger picture. Now, this is where it's really weird, right? We're kind of bearish here, looking for further downside. We're kind of bullish here, looking for further upside. And then we've been at the top, and we're working our way down on stocks above the 200-day. So the time frames are mixed. So when you look at the market, it's like, well, we're kind of getting choppy action, and we have been for months. And this thing keeps drifting off, even though we're hanging out at highs. So this right here could be indicative that on the bigger time frame, we're set for a bigger flush. So over the coming months, we did top out right up here. Right back there has been the top. It's been there since early 2024. Even though we've ground higher and higher in the market, the participation rate has been less and less. It's basically participation rate. Like that's these three charts. It's participation rate on a small time frame. Stocks above the 20-day moving average. Participation rate on the 50-day average. And then participation rate on the 200-day average. So we're getting mixed signals. Just means you got to be more vigilant out there. You got to be more careful. And when we bottomed everything else back here in 22, it was rather clear we're probably going up. And then, usually as we trend on the bigger time frame, you see these intermediate time frames oscillate. All right, we'll probably have periods as we go from the top to the bottom on S5TH. We'll probably see S5FI go from the top to the bottom, to the top, to the bottom, to the top, to the bottom. And then on S5TW, we'll see it go top, bottom, faster. That's the whole thing. All right. Big trend, long-term trend, intermediate, and then fast. That's why I look at them all, because this indicates we could go lower. We maxed it out pretty quickly. We went from the extreme to the extreme. And that's kind of what we've been seeing, right? Like chop in the market. So ES. So why do I look at futures? For those of you new here, there might be a couple. For those of you who've been around, it kind of completes the picture. When we look at the SPX over here, where's that big candle? It's not there. It won't be there until, like 5 more minutes or so when the market opens. 3 more minutes. We'll just get a giant gap down, and it'll be like, what the fudge? But ES over here, we have a complete picture. Like the market moved. So I use futures because it kind of completes the picture. What's going on? Gives me complete data. And we've kind of been tracking this for, we did this. I was pretty bullish. We did this again. And then we did this. And when we made the lower high right there on Friday, all of a sudden I was like, darn it. We just mucked up. We just created a nasty pattern. Yesterday, I was kind of beating the drum that we'd probably get a hot, spicy CPI number and get a negative reaction in the market. Here's the support, this downtrend right here. Now it's a downtrend of lows, and we got a downtrend of highs. So that's the resistance going higher. Here's support going lower, and we're stuck in a big downward channel at this point. Till the market does something to upset the trend. This might be what we're doing for the near term right there. Just messing around in here. Just more of this bull crap. That's what we all love, right? Just a grind sideways lower. All of it. Yeah, right. Not my favorite price action. Not much you can do about it. Sit it out and wait. So NASDAQ, as long as we're holding the July high, we're still biased higher, but the pressure has been down. I mean, we can't argue with that. We're just drifting. Nothing's popping, nothing's dropping. We're just kind of hanging. And I don't know. Can't break out, can't break down. just more sideways. You know, eventually we'll run out of room. We just keep grinding in here in this triangle. Eventually, it may be a long time, but eventually we'll run out of room over here. These will come together. You know, it could be way out here. We'll see what happens. See what happens. And there's a bug crawling on the teleprompter. If y'all see a bug crawl across me, it's like walking all around the teleprompter. I'm just sitting here. It's like walking all over the chart. I'm just like, okay. Anyway, so if you see some giant bug walk across me, that's what's going on. Alrighty. Man. Yeah. So this roadmap line may drift up here, and we may do this until we meet over here. That may be what happens. Could be. It's not what I really want to see. You know, when we go look at the seasonality here, let's pull this up. Check this out. A little bit of negative seasonality until at least mid-March, right there. Then we could, you know, we typically get about 17% gain in a year, but we usually start out pretty spicy, 3 or 4% on NASDAQ, then we take it almost all the way back. It's a friend of mine calls it the February S show. Excrement, excrement show, crap show, and yeah. So it's averaged across 20 years till, basically used all the data through the end of last year. Averaging the last 20 years of NASDAQ performance over the year. So typically, start about mid-March, we see performance. May is usually selling May go away, but as you can see, that's not like dead for the summer. That's just dead for the first part of May, pop into June, then kind of sit there as we get those. We see this quarterly, right? We get earnings, kind of dead. Earnings, kind of dead. Earnings, kind of dead. And then repeat, and their earnings kind of dead. So we kind of, every time we get earnings, we're kind of dead. So we'll see. We'll see. Do we get a rip this year, or is this going to be the year that doesn't follow this pattern at all? We might get a big pullback, but this right here, looking like we could go churning in here until everything kind of comes together at some point over here. I mean, doesn't have to be over here. It could just, we could come up here, get one of those little spikes right there. I mean, we had them, right? Could get one of those little spikes, breakouts, go higher, get the targets, be done, go up to all-time highs. I don't know. Right now, looks like more chop. Don't expect the market just to change. Where we've been in chop for 3 months, when you look at this, really since July, so August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, almost 8 months we've been just farting around here on NASDAQ. A little bit lower, a little bit higher. Not really going anywhere. If we make another spike down here, it's been 8 months of going nowhere. 8 months. How do you make money when nothing goes anywhere for 8 months? Rough. Russell back down to the roadmap line. Yeah, thought that might happen. Watch out for that. Been on the chart for a little while. I thought we might get a little higher, but nope. Not so far. Held pretty solid. And if we break down below the roadmap line, probably indicative that we're going down here. In fact, if we get a daily close under that roadmap line, I might actually put on an IWM short to take advantage of that. Anything in here might like a 216, 204. Buy the 216 put, sell 204 put. Now, it is green. It's probably going to fill the gap. It's one of the things that happens on IWM. So, check out the options. See if we could formulate any kind of plan here. That might take, we were looking at May maybe. So, like out to May. Let's talk about like a 216. Don't have prices yet. It's like 594 and a 204, which you may have to do a 205 or a 200. Yeah, $3. $2 risk for, say, $11 move. That's not bad, right? Not bad. Let's grab the calculator. $11 potential. Well, that'd be $9 potential gain. So it'll be 9 gain, $11 max potential divided by $2 cost. It's 4.5 to 1. That's a pretty good risk to reward. Reward's 4.5, risk. Now, if you're sitting there like, what did you just do? So this price right here, right? 216, 205. How much distance is between those? 216 minus 205 is $11, right? Now 584 minus 317, that's like $2 and change. I didn't do the exact math, probably 250 roughly. A little bit more. There's the prices starting to update. So roughly 250. And so you take 250 off of that. I just rounded off to $2, just $2. So that was where I got $9. It cost $2 to get into it. So divide by 2, and that equals your 4.5 reward if the price were to drop all the way down there for a $2 risk. How do you get a $2 risk? You buy this one and sell this one. Selling this one does limit your profit to the 4.5, but it also reduced the cost from $5 down to $2-ish. If that was helpful, let me know in the chat. It's a potential way to play if we're going to take this big drop from here down to here. Right now, I wouldn't do it yet. They'd be like, well, the prices are even better right now. Yeah, but this could just blast off and do that. And then you just ate a $2 loss for no good reason because it's not confirming that we're going down there. So it's got to break below that to indicate we're going in that. All right. Any questions? Let me know. But so I would not just buy that right now. I'm not doing it. Like I'm not telling you to do it. And all trading has a substantial risk of loss. So if you choose to do that, you got to make sure it's right for you and your account. All right. But that would be a way to play that move right there if it's going to play out. And that's going off of, where do I get the time frame? It's from this chart right here where I was talking about this may fart around till out here in May, right? So if the market kind of does this bull crap, that May time frame kind of covers us. That's where I got that. So it's kind of putting it all together, right? So, Russell may go faster than that. It may just wet the bed and fall out and wake up down here. But you got to make your time frame choices. All right. CL. I was really hopeful we were going to stick that breakout right there. Looks like we're going to retrace it to probably a 618. If we get below the 618, probably going lower. This is one of those you're going to have to watch. We've got this low right there. We've got this high right there. And we're into that 618 right there. I've drawn lots of things, said lots of things lately, but this is what it really kind of comes down to right now. If we hold this, break back above the roadmap line on the daily, which is basically right where the 4 hour is. Also, we're probably setting the stage for a bigger rally in oil. That also jives with CPI and PCE and all those other things being spicy hot. If we break down below this 618 right now, we're probably coming down to a lower low, which we rejected the 4 hour, we rejected the 4 hour, so there's no reason to think that we're going higher at this point. Like, the trend is lower. So I've warned about be careful getting into oil. The charts are very uncertain. We're seeing lots of uncertainty, especially if you look at something like XOP on the bigger time frame here. This has been just years of chopping. That's not indicative that we're going to do anything except more just choppy sideways price action. So oil industry is really kind of questionable. And you look at the long term, this is the futures pricing out the projections all for the next 10 years. That's lower prices. Why? I don't know. Is that EV adoptions? Is it? You tell me. That's the next 10 years, though. The market is pricing oil down. Should you get long oil? I don't know. I don't know if that's right for you. You got to be careful. Got to be careful. GC. Well, so far, 3 waves down. Didn't hit an ideal spot yet. So this will be key. If we start breaking above this, we may go up for another high. If we turn down and break down below this, well, the daily roadmap line might start coming into focus. You maybe look over here and you go, holy balls. JT, do you understand that's down at 2,600? Yeah. This is a little tell right here. We might be about to do something like that. I don't care how much rhetoric there is about gold going to 3,000, going to 5,000, going to blah, 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 blah. Gold might be about to take a big correction. That's what the chart is kind of saying. Now, it could hold a level in here. It's quite possible. But look how long it's been since we touched the roadmap line. I'm not even sure we touched it there. It's probably been back here. November of 23. So, year and a half later, might be time. Might be time. I mean, look back in the history. It doesn't go a long time without hitting the roadmap line on the daily. It just doesn't. Even in periods of outperformance, it just doesn't go that long. So why would you expect now to really outperform and not go visit the daily roadmap line? It's just not a great idea to ignore the fact that we've been up here longer than normal, and that might be the very real possibility. So you got to watch that smaller time frame for clues. If it starts being soft, we're probably going down for a bigger flush. Bitcoin. Boy, yesterday that was ugly into the close. Oh my gosh. That's not bullish price action. We may need one more good flush. We may get the all-time history here. Pull up this chart where I've been drawing on it. We may need that dip right down here. I know there's a lot of people thinking that we get below 92,000 and Bitcoin is done. Like, we're not going higher. This cycle is done. Look at where the floor has been. What happens when we push below that? Stop out all those naysayers, all those people that think that that's the end of the world. Cleans it up so we can go up. Could go down to this 84,000 level. It's very, very possible. Very possible. I've been talking about this for a number of months now. It's entirely possible we're going to get a bigger correction. There's not been a cycle yet where we didn't get like a 30% pullback, which would take us all the way down to 76. Yeah, that would kind of suck, right? Kind of suck. Yeah, that would kind of suck. But it cleans it up so we can go higher. Might be what we're doing. Ethereum looks like it's going to get another dip. Be careful out there. I'm not convinced that if Bitcoin dips below 92, that it means jack squat, except we're going to stop a bunch of people out, clean it up, to get some speculators out of there that shouldn't be in there. NKD still going sideways, not really indicating anything on global liquidity. And the dollar just chopping. More chop, lower high, still set. Now, we are above the roadmap line, so going on up to 111, still a possibility. This right here, lower high, and another lower high. Probably, if you were kind of trying to be biased on this thing, that expectation would be here. Confirmation for it, dropping below that low from back here just a couple days ago. We get below it, probably coming down to the roadmap line at the minimum. Then we might bounce for a prolonged bounce before we break down below it and go on down. And we've been looking for this correction to play on out, and it just keeps dragging its feet. We could have wrapped this up quickly back here, dropped into the 90s and wrapped it up. But no, we had to just chop it sideways for the last 2 years and just going to keep grinding it until we can finally flush it out. All right, I go pull everything moving $2 or more up in the pre-market and put it on the gainers list. I pull up $2 or more down on the pre-market and put it on the decliners list. The decliners were like 90 stocks today, and the gainers were like 20 stocks today. So there's quite a few stocks on the list. Let's see what we can find as far as opportunity goes, kind of hunting for the patterns that I look for. And lithium motors does not look like anything I want to get involved in. Just not. That chart does not scream, hey, JT, look at the opportunity here. I mean, there's potential it goes a little higher, but that just does not say massive opportunity is here. Could see this pop on up to 452, but just not feeling that one. Upstart Holdings. Oh, very nice. We might see this rally on up to the 120, 160 area. That's a big fat zone, but yes, that might be where we're heading, right up in that zone. Breaking through, and we may see that continuation right up in there. It's another chart that I'm not really chasing down. I just not feeling it. SMCX is a 2x leverage on SMCI, so we might as well just go down to the underlying and check it out. What do we have? We have it popping into the resistance. Right there. Why would you expect it to go higher than this? There's the 618 level right there from the high to the low. Well, that's not even the right low, right? Pull this down to that one. There we go. Yeah, that's a key resistance level right there at the 76 and 618. Like that zone many times is resistance. Right there. Can easily turn down, go make a lower low than any of these lows we've had. Easily. If you go believe hopes and dreams of people on X and Twitter and stock twits and, YouTube and all that stuff. Oh, SMCI is going back to the all-time highs. What on this chart would tell you that that's going back to the all-time highs? I mean, just go look at the bubble pattern, right? This looks like one of these little bounces. I don't know about you. It looks to me, we have that bounce in place. Might be working on this one right now. And then you know what happens? We go make a lower low. Maybe that was that one, and maybe we're not. I mean, I don't know. Doesn't exactly have to do that pattern every time, but it would not surprise me to make another lower low right out over here. I mean, you can let me know in the chat if you would be surprised. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And then we start recovering, and we could do this stuff over here, and another little pop. Now, it doesn't have to do a prolonged nasty period. We could just flush this out all of a sudden and then start up. But that was the bubble, and I don't expect we're just going to recover from this bubble anytime soon. Don't suspect there's giant opportunity here. Not yet. Dash, DoorDash, hitting its head here. Hadn't retraced to the roadmap line in a couple months. Watch out. May retrace before we go higher again. Now I can keep rocking and rolling. We do have these double top highs right up here. Twin towers. Boom. Lower low. So if we're going to gun for it, we could gun for that. This is the lowest low. So nothing to the left really matters. So you can't run, like, people are like, oh, you just run the fib line from the high to the low and look at the expansion. But that's not the way this works. We don't have price action that was lower than this low over here. And this was a pullback of that price action. You could assume it, but you know what assuming does. Makes a donkey out of everybody. So got to be careful. That's resistance. And there's the support. MCY, Mercury General Corporation. And things looking up all of a sudden. Important earnings. Beating on the top, beating on the bottom. Everything's okay all of a sudden, right? This was a measured bounce. This thing may skyrocket from here. Check this out. That low, that high, this low. We might be about to do this right here. If we can stick this close above the roadmap line here, and you felt like this might be something you want to get involved in, now it may be a long slog of a go. I mean, this over here is kind of the trajectory, so it could be, it could be well out in the 26 before we do that. Not too shabby though. CVS trying to get off the mat. This is it. When I did the training for Market Roadmap years ago, this is the chart I used right here. And we went up, made a big high, and we plummeted down and made a lower low. And this is trying to get off the mat. Trying. Operative word, trying here. I don't know. I always talk about those gap downs being resistance. Well, you can see it play out right there, and then we went for a lower low. played out perfectly right there. This is still resistance. Right there. I don't think that it magically has solved all its problems and we're going higher. I be very careful. Mess with this. We could easily go make lower lows, you know, between this one and Walgreens. Are we going to have any drugstores left in the United States? I mean, Amazon pharmacies taking over, right? Like I see their commercials constantly. Problem with Amazon, though, you can't just run, you know, can't get sick on a Saturday, go to the Minute Clinic and have your Amazon drugs. So, until they get that 7-day-a-week delivery thing worked out everywhere, just not going to happen. NXPI, pretty solid resistance right there, which ties in with the roadmap line right there. Also, downward pressure as long as we're below that. We did touch into the targets. Might go a little lower. Downward pressure. Not confirming we're made a bottom. This very overlapping. Nothing to do for me. SMCL leveraged on SMCI. I'm just going to stay away. Tesla, did we get close enough? I don't know. Till we get out of the range of this candle, we're not going to know. We're going to have to get above that, and then that was close enough. If we just stay in the range of this candle, there's high probability we pop down here and hit the roadmap line. Could it be done? Could. That could be close enough. You know, almost the exact middle of the target. You know, pennies away from touching that 323.86 level. We look at the extended hours data. We got even closer overnight. Look at that. Even closer overnight. So I got pretty darn close. In the wee hours of the morning this morning. It's kind of hitting it. I mean, that tag, look, that overnight action tagged, wrong number, you find that fascinating, right? That overnight action actually tagged the roadmap line. Like I said, that could be done. I wouldn't bet on it going any lower than that. SMCI, like I said, resistance. Right there, it's a lower high, downtrend on the roadmap line. Expectation is lower. If you were kind of doing the roadmap pattern trade thing, you'd look for a breakdown below that 618 for continuation lower. If we can get above that, back test it, turn higher, we could go higher, but until we do that, the downtrend is, I mean, the trend is down. It is a downtrend. We keep making lower highs. Don't bet against it. GILD. Yep, target's up there at 106, and then resistance zone up here, 112 to 122-ish. BABA probably going to reach on up to the 123, 125 area. That's the target. CFLT. Confluent. That did a measured bounce setup. That probably is going to go up here to 44. CLMT. Wow. What a choppy mess. There's the high. There's the low. Resistance right there at 21 and target up at 26. FUTU. Breaking on higher. This indicating we're going on up to like 140 here. EW. Man, oh man. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Potential to push on up to 77 and then probably do more choppiness. SWTX. Pow. Sometimes they do a long consolidation and I just wouldn't get involved, and then boom, right up to the target. And it's just surprising. That one did it right there. This is biotech, so be careful chasing biotech. I wouldn't have traded it just because of biotech. This is a dumpster fire. Reverse splits galore. Crazy spikes on the way down to 0. Medical specialty, biotech. Just be careful trading that stuff. PDD. Pinduoduo, which is Timu. Jimmy Fallon last night was like Timu. I think he pronounced it Timu. Timu. I've always heard it Timu on the commercials, but you know, Timu. 175 potential on the upside. Is China going to recover? I don't know. NAB. It's another biotech. Be careful. Going into the abyss is what that looks like. Why would it turn? Unless you got connections that you know they're going to solve whatever problem they're working on. I wouldn't mess with that. QSR. Resistance, 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 resistance. Watch out. Now, one thing I just make everybody aware. Yesterday, news came out. GLP-1 drugs causing some blindness in population of the takers. Maybe it's a small population. Maybe it's nothing to worry about. But it is a threat. Could have a negative reaction on GLP-1 drugs, so watch out. But so far, Lilly rocking and rolling here, up 10. But NVO also at the basement here, so there are potentials that cause blindness for certain GLP-1 drug takers. That did pop back up to that upper target there, funny enough. Boom. That can turn down, so that is a proportional move off the low. First move, retrace. Second move, holding. Unless we get on up here, that's a cautionary point right there that this could get continuation lower. Just one of those things that get, the mood could turn a little sour on GLP-1 drugs. I don't even remember where I was. There's NAB. Yeah, so that just hooked in my mind all of a sudden about drugs. Anyway, Restaurant Brands International. Looks pretty bad. SMCY. Yield Max. I have not been a fan of Yield Max. A couple of you have been doing pretty well with Yield Max stuff. I'm just not a fan. That looks pretty rough. Based on adjusted basis, though, not as bad. Still pretty horrible. TSLY, that one's pretty rough too. And Yield Max stuff just not speaking my language. All right, decliners. Let's look for some opportunity here. WAT. There's the high, potential low at the roadmap line. Gonna have to fill the gap to go higher. FNGU, still lower highs. Still has the possibility to go up to 711 though. ASML still has the target down at 600. NOW, target down here at 960. Essentially gonna hit the roadmap line, then we can look for the bigger bounce. And 1230 would be the upside potential. VRT, there's the resistance at the gap down. GE Veranova still looks like it wants to roll to the roadmap line. VMC, Vulcan Materials. I went by local headquarters for Vulcan Materials today. Got that high, got that low. Resistance right there, if we can break up. That looks like it may want to get a third move down. If that's the case, we'd look for a bottom somewhere in this vicinity right here. There, holding company, but they're a construction materials company. Yeah, construction materials. So like stone and stuff like that. Rock quarries. Yeah, Tennessee. Headquarter, Birmingham, Alabama. NA, Northern Alabama. As opposed to LA, Lower Alabama. All right, moving on. SPIR. Well, that's chopiness. Whew. That's why I always warn, like, you see that we got right up to that 1448 would be right there. We hit it. I'm always warning because, well, just get a big whack, right? This is in that $10 range, so it may not follow the patterns. Be careful. PTIR. And be careful on this one. Gosh darn, man. I don't want to see anybody lose a bunch of money, but this one's screaming danger. You know how I was very adamant about SMCI screaming danger? This one's screaming danger to me. I know that there's a lot of hype. I know the CEO bragging about killing bad guys and all sorts of fun stuff. And they're using, Elon's using their technology to hunt down spending and all this other stuff with Doge. But they're just, the numbers don't make sense. Now, they can stay irrational forever, but these freaking numbers, look at that. The price to sales ratio has climbed just from when they reported earnings at 66 to 102 now. Are you kidding me? The price to earnings at 620? How does that make sense? It's 103 years of all their sales, like not even taking any profits, anything with it. All of their sales going into the stock price to justify the market cap. 2.18 billion shares at this price. 114. Jeez, was 103 years of all of their sales going into the price to justify the value. That's a bubble. I don't care what anybody says. That's a bubble. It's not going to end pretty. ISRG, keep climbing. CEG, watch for that to pull back. BL, yeah, just a little overhyped. Just a little bit. Blackline, it's doing a 6-minute pullback. If we can hold in this zone, turn back higher, get back above the roadmap line, we could be looking for another big leg up. Be careful. STAA. If one thing, I'm not a bandwagon person, so I'm not going to just jump on the bandwagon and say, hey, you should go buy PLTR because, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to bandwagon. That's just not who I am at all. I've lost more money trying to jump into stuff. FOMO. Other YouTubers will be out. I'm sure you could go watch YouTube, look at videos on PLTR, and there's tons of people like telling you how high it's going to go. But just go, just the reality of that just is insane. Like the numbers don't make sense. 103, holy fudge muffins. Like that, those numbers right there are stupid. Like that, there's just nothing going to grow that fast that's this big. It's just not. STAA, Star Surgical, that's, be careful on med specialty, that goes in the garbage. Zilla Group. Well, I was warning that we were pretty much at the targets, so no surprise that we're coming back to the roadmap line. Probably doing that on both of those. Yep, probably coming back. Look, we were at the target. That was it. We did it. Look for another opportunity if we can hold the roadmap line. In fact, I want to know if we hit it. I'm going to set an alert right there. Might do that today. DPST. It's kind of a bearish resistance there. Might go lower. That's a 3x leverage, so be careful. OS, lower low, nothing to see here. Home Depot probably coming back. This might be doing a third leg. So first move down, that's one leg, retrace, second leg, third leg, be down here if we're going to see more downside. ANET, there's the resistance, and just like Home Depot, we may see a third leg down. Could be down here. Nail. Well, I warned about that. How we broke through the downtrend or uptrend of lows, that we may see this bleed off further. We back tested, pushing down lower. It might push down to the 20s. Adobe still has downside to go. Resistance at the roadmap line. TDC, well, that made the lower low. See if that was any surprise. Nope, right to the target, 23. Didn't give you an entry, but right down to the target. Now, this could be done, but I probably wouldn't get involved in it right now. CRWD, CrowdStrike, is on a path up here to this 500, 600 area. Small little blips and dips along the way, don't matter. SPXL, I'm really uncertain here. It set up the trade for 195, but it may fail, or it may not fail, but it may come back to the roadmap line before we go up there. Failing is dollar below that low right there. It did kick off the entry, and we've been sideways. And typically this trade takes about 39 bars. So let's look at what that would be. 39 bars would take, yeah, it was right there. There would be to March. That's just average. Could take twice the average. So it could take like 78 bars, which would be out to May. Could easily take twice as long as normal. That's the way averages work. Sometimes they're faster, sometimes they're slower. So if it takes twice as long, it could even take 3 times as long, which would be out here, you know, way out there. So 3, 4 times as long. Toll Brothers going in the garbage. FAS may have come up shy of the roadmap line, or the target, and maybe coming back to the roadmap line. Get the words correct order. Carvana almost to the target at 278. Nice. VST target down here. SMWB back to the roadmap line. Can we find supports? I don't know. That left a giant gap down. It's got a lot of resistance going higher. Toyota Motors and lower highs. And if we break down below this uptrend of lows, watch out below. CRM. Potential coming back to the roadmap line. Bulls. Potential to pop on up to the target there, but I don't know. It's definitely choppy there. It's a 3x leverage, so I don't know. DR Horton, and that one, same thing as Nail. We back tested the upturn of lows. And put it on the right ones. So we back tested that. I was warning that this may be about to take a spill, and that's what we're doing. Watch out for this to go down more violently. Coming back into the 50, 60 zone would not surprise me at all. Adam. Well, that was the bubble. Played out, and probably going to come back down in the low single. Oh, we're already in the single digits, so lower single digits. Net, Cloudflare, Blast off, baby. Potential to go up to 240. ZS, potential to come down and make the low, but I don't know. It could be done here. We could be reversing. We could be setting this up to bounce. It could just hold that right there and go rocking and rolling up here to 300 at this point. Be a 50% gain on shares. IWM, I already talked about. Potential to go lower, but there's the upside resistance. CAR, potential for this one to drop on out. That looks pretty rough. SPG, Summit Property Group. This seems to be turning their crap around here, quite honestly, but we're coming into a long-term set of highs. See this topping right here? We're getting into that area where we've not been able to get through before. And we're going all the way back 10 years ago. So can it turn itself around here? Can we bust through? I'm not entirely sure. PHM. But they're doing a good job monetizing malls that seem to be dying. I don't know. PHM. Down to the roadmap line on the 3-day. Pushing lower. Could have lower to go. I am not going to predict the bottom at this moment. That's 5 down. May do a retrace. Resistance would be right here. So 5 down, 3 up, and then 5 down again. We put it down in here if we're going to do that. AMAT. Watch for that to continue down. SW. Back to the roadmap line. Smurfit Westrock. These guys make packaging. It's, rough time there. Back about 54 could take us up to 57, but it also could take a spill on further down. TSM looks like it wants to come down to the roadmap line. MDB stuck at the roadmap line, may go lower. Shopify would not surprise me to retrace back to the roadmap line, but next upside resistance is up here around 160, 170. CLS would not surprise me to come back to the roadmap line. TECL stuck at the roadmap line, not able to break through and get higher, and we may go lower. It's a 3x bull on technology. I'd be very, very careful right now on that. CRH, the market has proven we have months and months of indecision in big tech. CRH just kind of sitting here, came up just shy of the targets, may retrace the roadmap line before we go higher again. AVGO, just consolidating, and this is non-committal. So the potential to go up is right there. The potential to go down is down here, and we're just kind of sitting here in the middle. The longer we sit there leads to a potential for that, for me. Amazon, watch out for this to come back to the roadmap line. That's watch out, watch out, watch out. Right there. LABU, potentially gonna flush that down the toilet. BWXT, sit on the roadmap line, may go lower. SMH, sit on the roadmap line, may go lower. TEM, yeah, we're back up there. 82, 87 upside resistance. Possibly 85, 91 actually. Lots of chop. Hard to, no roadmap line, no nothing. That's just EWAG. If you're not sure what an EWAG is, you can Google it, but it's educated, wild, @ $, guess. XLK just chopping sideways for months. Not very committal on technology, as we've already talked about. UDAO, that looks like it may roll again. Well, I'm completely honest. That looks like we may get another flush. Right down there. Ugly might roll back to the roadmap line or even down here. Might. But that was a heck of a rip. Heck of a rip. I mean, if you traded that, beautiful, right? That's resistance. It could retrace and hold and go higher, but odds are we're going to get a deeper retrace. ITB, bounced off the roadmap line, pushing lower. Downside potential. Down at 97 supports. BX, well, that's first move. One move down, one retrace. Next move down, potential to go right down in here to find supports. NVO. And potential for that to go lower. Snow. Potential for that to come back to the roadmap line after not breaking into the gap down. SOXX. Choppy sideways under the roadmap line. May flush down. UPRO. May come back and visit the roadmap line again, just like all the other leveraged instruments for SPX. CCK, just choppy sideways for years. Just expect that to keep going. CRDO, looks like that wants to come back to the roadmap line. PANW, looks like that might want to get another leg down. Be very cautious here. That could come down here very quickly. First move down. Next move down. Would not surprise me one bit to see that right there. TQQQ, like I said, this may come back to the roadmap line again. We've kind of been chopping. It's a high probability setup for going up to that 96, but it could take a while. XHB, probably going to go lower after turning off of the 99, 100, and then things could get much worse from there. Yeah, same kind of, if you ignore this little diversion down like that, you know, look at these low, 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 broke down, back tested, turning down, could push it way down in this zone. If we don't hold here, we could go way down in here. URTY, Ultra Pro Russell. Whew. That might outperform to the downside. TXN. Texas Instruments not doing so hot. We may do a 618 retrace here. That low, that high. Man, excuse me. Looking for this to hold this zone. If we don't, we may go lower, but if we do, this could be a measured bounce. If it does hold that, now this would be an opportunity right here. Could see this pop from down here all the way up in here. That'd be pretty nice. Kava. Watch for that to do a third move. First move down, retrace, hold. Next move down. Could be right in here. Especially if we don't hold that line right there. MIDU. 3x mid-cap bulls. And that looks like we're going to take another spill. First move down, retrace. Possibly down here. QLD. Looks like we're going to go. That's a same as the TQQQ, just, you know, different ticker. Different, man, you know, this is ProShares, whereas TQQQ is also ProShares. Just a different instrument, same thing. ANF, well, really close to the reversal point, but we could push it on down even lower. Guess that trade's done. Oracle, looks like this may come down for another leg. Modine, looks like that's going to come on down. GDXU. Be very careful if gold rolls. This, you know, gold was at all-time highs. GDXU was down here and may push lower. Marvell, looks like we're coming back to the roadmap line. TMDX, maybe going to push lower. FSLR has just a little bit lower to go to the target at 155. K8, KBH, KB Home, that's also back tested and maybe going to do a flush, bigger flush. Just going off the other stuff, it'd be somewhere in this 40, 45, 50 area right in there. LU, target at 120, turned around. Yang, going into the abyss. QCOM, if we can break out through the resistance, this has a bigger upside. If we break down, it's going to wreck the pattern. Has a measured bounce in place, but we got to break through upside resistance. TNA, potential to go down. On, sit at the roadmap line. That high, that low. If we could break through and go higher, that'd be nice. SPYU. Looks like we're going to come back to the roadmap line again. KHC. My lady owns ketchup. Yeah, there was a joke back when John Kerry was running for president or whatever. He should, since he married into the Heinz family, he should be like, "My lady owns ketchup. You can't argue." And I'm very summarizing the joke, but it was pretty funny. I'll probably always remember it. So potential to go higher, but this is starting to erode and may actually end up down here in the 16 area. Lift. It's been pretty choppy. Starting to be a little iffy if we can actually bounce from here and go higher. Lower highs provides more resistance to going higher now. So resistance right there at 17 and may end up down here at 5. Uber. Is the writing on the wall if Tesla introduces Cybercab here in a couple months? I don't know. Lower highs might be tough. And that was the end of the list. So I didn't really see any bonus trade opportunities that I really wanted to get out there for everybody today. Look at the bias for the day. Let's see what we got. This looks unfinished. Now, here in the near term, if we break back above this 60-50 area, we can easily come back up in that 60-90 area. If we don't, it may end up with a lower low today. So indecision, like we're stuck in the range. We set the range from back here, as I talked about before, where we opened up Sunday nights. As long as we're in that range, it's just a giant chop fest. So be careful. Be careful. Yeah, my wife would argue that Whataburger makes the best ketchup, but yeah, I like Heinz. And, I don't know. It's be careful out there, everybody. I'll be live 1 o'clock today. So if you want to come hang out, I'm going to do chart requests at 1 o'clock. And I'll throw the link in the chat for you really quickly. Copy link. And I should have posted this earlier when there were still 100 people on the stream. That's not the link. Cool. That's not what I needed. Yeah, let me try it one more time. One more time. I appreciate if you come and see me. I mean, I need people to show up to do requests. So I'll be live at 1 o'clock. It's a third-party thing. It's not with the publishing company. Not Prosperity Pub or any of that stuff. So you got to register to get the link to come visit me. But I'll be live 1 o'clock, hanging out, just taking requests for like a half an hour or so. So if you want to do that, come see me. Otherwise, I'll see you in the morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll do it all over again, trying to look for opportunities for the day. Today, I'm not thinking we're getting much of any opportunity today. Just kind of stuck here, still chopping. Be careful out there. We'll see you again tomorrow.